Okay, morning people. Today I'm going to take you through the pipeline builder in Orchestra, and this is going to show you how you can easily build pipelines without running into any issues. So just head over here to new pipeline. The first thing you need to do is just give your pipeline a name. And then the second thing you'll be asked to do is to add a trigger. So you can always trigger something manually. You can also trigger it via webhook. To do that, you just basically press next, and you've got that there. If you then look to edit the webhook again, after you've published something, so let's add a task. We can add an EC2 script. Some ID. Then you'll see that the webhook trigger appears to you. So all you have to do is send a post request with this auth header to that endpoint. You can also have this pipeline be triggered by another pipeline. You can do multiple of these, which is pretty cool. But the one you'll probably want to start off with is cron. The thing to note is that we pin time zones to cities, so you should kind of look for your city, mainly because, even if you do like a country, depending on where you are in that country, sometimes it's different within the city, which is an edge case I did not know about. Cool. So that's triggers. The next thing you'll see is, okay, so we've added a task here. This task is in a task group. So if I just add another one of these, you'll see now there are two tasks in this task group. And all that means is that these two things are going to run in parallel. And then if there's something else that happens after we've done this EC2, so maybe we go into dbt cloud, all it means is that if, basically both of these have to succeed for this to run. If you want to add another task group, you can just go to these three dots and add it here. So if I wanted to have another task come off here, I would do that. So, so if you wanted to run two dbt jobs in parallel, you could do it like this, but that's just the same as doing this. And this will look a lot cleaner in the UI, as you can see. So try to minimize task groups. If you do need to have another one, right, maybe you have a lot of Airbyte syncs that are running. So we can call this SAS ingestion. You probably would want this as a separate task group. Cool. And then if you want to draw dependencies, so you can see if you hover over here, I can do that. So these two jobs are only going to get kicked off when all these have succeeded. All right, say you want to do something just before, right? Maybe I'm ingesting data to Snowflake and I want to run like a Snowflake data quality test. If you press this plus button, you can add a task. So let's run a Snowflake test. Show data is okay. Select star from table where condition equals okay. And I want to make sure there are at least 100 results. So that means it's going to error if it's less than 100. Maybe warn there are less than 1,000. So this is just the same as what you'd have in DBT. Okay, and maybe I want this to feed into that. I actually don't want it to go into the data quality bit. And then here, I can either press delete on my keyboard, or I can press that cross, and that will remove that dependency, which is pretty cool. So then the only other thing is, let's talk about version control. So every time you save, you create another version. Under the hood, Orchestra is just YAML, which you can see here. So if I don't select publish, we're going to create another version. We can see that here. If I publish it, this is what's going to be in prod. So now we can see this is published. You can restore, just creates another version. You need to publish it again. And you can keep sort of doing that. So you have rollback. Something that's important to note is that over here in team, you'll see people have different roles. Not everybody can publish a pipeline. So if you're wondering how you get a bit more governance, you can go into there. Cool. So we've talked about how you build a pipeline, we've talked about versions. Let's talk about alerts. So you add alerts here. You can alert on any task, on any condition, send it to anywhere, any number of alerts, any message. Note, we will include a helpful message for the error by default. So if you just wanted to alert on failures for the whole pipeline, stuff failed, looking into it, or the data is stale, you can do that here. So send it to a bunch of Slack channels, scroll down, hit create, and then you're good to go. Something that a lot of folks like to do is, if there's some kind of data set in Power BI, right, maybe a business stakeholder needs to know if this data is stale. You can do that by just alerting on that specific task. And it will go into a cancelled or a skip state, right, if any of these jobs fail. So you can say, hey, data in the dashboard might be missing latest day. We're working to fix it ASAP, and we'll let you know. And that could be like something like that. Cool. You need to save the alerts as well. But we've also got some Power BI. And yeah, the only other thing to think about is conditionality. So by default, stuff only runs if all the stuff before it is in a successful or a warning state, right? So if I said treat failure as warning, then if this job failed, this would end up in a warning. If just this job completed and successfully, this would be successful. This would still run. But if you wanted this to only run on successes, you could do it like that. And then you would have this guy pop up. And if I go ahead and clone this, this would be all succeeded or warning, right? Which is the default. If any of these fail, then we can do this. And if we clone it again, sometimes, you might just want to run something anyway. So a good example of this is actually like Tableau, because you can only make a single concurrent request with their personal access token at any given time, which is really annoying. So often people want to, refresh a Tableau dashboard, but then they also want to refresh another one. But even if this fails, they're still going to want to refresh this one. So they'll kind of set it up like that. And if you press delete on your keyboard, you can remove those as well, which makes things a bit clearer. But yeah, that is a quick summary of the pipeline builder. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Cheers, guys.